You see a hedgehog in your garden, and you think it's a solitary traveler. You watch it navigate the fence, pause by the flower bed, and disappear into the night. You assume it is alone, a quiet creature wandering through a world that doesn't know it exists. But you are missing the most important part of the story. You are looking at the hedgehog, but you aren't seeing what it is doing. While you see a lone animal, the hedgehog sees a community. It is reading a newspaper that you cannot read, deciphering a code written on every blade of grass, every rock, and every patch of soil in your yard. Your garden is not a silent, empty space. It is a bulletin board layered with thousands of invisible messages left by other hedgehogs that passed through hours or even days before. When your garden hedgehog pauses at the edge of the lawn, it isn't just looking around. It is checking the mail. It is reading the chemical signatures left by a hedgehog that crossed this exact spot last night. It is learning who was here, which way they were headed, whether they were hungry, and even their current health status. And then it leaves a message of its own. This communication system is one of the most sophisticated yet overlooked aspects of hedgehog biology. We are used to animals that communicate through loud calls or visible displays, but the hedgehog is a creature of the dark, and its medium is chemistry. Every time a hedgehog marks its territory or moves through your garden, it is updating a shared, invisible ledger. The scientists call this scent marking, but that term is far too clinical for the reality. It is a narrative. It is a story told in scent, an intricate web of information that allows hedgehogs to coordinate their movements and exist in a shared space without ever needing to meet face to face. Imagine walking into a room where every person who has visited in the last week has left a detailed note about who they are and what they were doing. That is your garden to a hedgehog. When you see your garden hedgehog standing perfectly still, head tilted, sniffing the air, it is not merely searching for food. It is engaging in a complex social dialogue. It is determining its place in the neighborhood hierarchy. Are you starting to see your garden differently now? It isn't just a patch of land you own. It is a vital, bustling hub of social interaction for a secret society that operates right under your feet. But here is where the story takes a turn that might surprise you. This system of messages is not just for information. It is for survival. These hedgehogs are constantly cross-referencing these scent-based messages with their own experience of the environment. If one hedgehog leaves a warning scent near a particular part of your garden, the next one to arrive will steer clear. It is a decentralized, real-time security network. And the most remarkable part? We have almost no idea how much of this information is being exchanged. We are outsiders to a conversation that has been happening in our own backyards for millions of years. In the next part, we will dive deeper into how these messages are physically left, the hidden anatomy of their messaging system, and the shocking consequence of what happens when we humans unknowingly wipe these messages away with our garden maintenance. But before we move on, consider this. If your garden is a conversation, what are you contributing to it? Are you a silent observer, or are you accidentally interrupting the dialogue? Think about the last time you saw a hedgehog in your garden. Did it seem to know exactly where it was going? Maybe it wasn't following a map. Maybe it was following the conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one of them, and your observations are the fuel for our investigation. If this insight into the secret life of your garden residents changed how you look at the night, please like this video and subscribe. It helps us keep digging into these hidden truths. Now let's decode the actual message. To understand the message, we have to understand the messenger. The hedgehog's writing tool is a complex array of glands, primarily concentrated in the anal region and along the flanks. But the ink they use is far more than simple waste. It is a cocktail of pheromones, hormonal markers, and environmental data. When a hedgehog rubs its side against a post or marks a specific patch of soil, it is essentially leaving a digital footprint that persists long after its physical presence has faded. Think about the implications of this. A hedgehog that visited your garden 3 days ago is still speaking to the hedgehog visiting tonight. This is the temporal dimension of their communication. It creates a continuity that we, with our limited senses, perceive as a fragmented experience. We see a single hedgehog, we see it leave, and we think the event is over. The hedgehog, however, perceives the garden as a layered history book. It can distinguish the message of a hedgehog that was here at midnight from one that was here at dawn. It can tell the difference between a juvenile exploring for the first time and an elder claiming territory. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: human intervention. We love our gardens. We clean them, we trim them, we spray them, and we arrange them. Every time you hose down a path, move a heavy garden ornament, or use an aromatic cleaner on your patio, you are doing something far more drastic than you realize. You aren't just cleaning, you are deleting the archives. You are erasing the messages that these animals rely on to navigate their world safely. Imagine waking up to find that every street sign, every billboard, and every note on your desk had been wiped clean. You would be disoriented, wouldn't you? That is the exact feeling of a hedgehog entering a clean garden. The safety network is gone. The social context has vanished. And this is exactly why your hedgehog might abandon your garden without a second thought. It isn't because it didn't like your garden. It's because your garden stopped being readable. It became a silent, void space where it could no longer tell if it was safe or if it was being watched by a rival. But there is a scientific mystery even deeper than this. Why do some hedgehogs ignore these messages and choose to overwrite them? Researchers have observed dominant hedgehogs that seem to actively mask the scents of others. This suggests a social structure that we have historically underestimated. We viewed hedgehogs as solitary and primitive. The data is starting to show something very different. They are socially competitive, highly aware of their neighbors, and deeply invested in the social mapping of their environment. This brings us back to your role in all of this. You are not just a gardener. You are the custodian of this bulletin board. Every time you leave your garden, naturally messy, every time you allow the corners to be undisturbed, you are protecting the integrity of this communication system. You are allowing the story to continue. And when you decide to let a pile of leaves sit for a season, you aren't just being lazy. You are preserving the archives. I know what some of you are thinking. If they are constantly leaving these messages, why don't we ever see them interacting? The answer lies in the nature of their social organization. They operate on a principle of delayed interaction. By avoiding direct contact, they minimize the risk of injury while maximizing the information they gain. It is a highly efficient way to manage resources. The hedgehog that arrives at 2 a.m. knows who was there at 1 a.m. without ever having to risk a confrontation. It is a sophisticated, low-energy, high-information lifestyle that has served them for millions of years. But what happens when you introduce an artificial element, like a garden feeder? We've seen this time and time again. A feeder becomes a hot spot. It becomes a place where the messages get confused, where the scents overlap so intensely that the social narrative breaks down. This can lead to increased stress, aggressive encounters, and eventually the abandonment of the area. The feeder was meant to help, but in the social language of the hedgehog, it was a shouting match that ruined the conversation. This is the hidden truth of your garden. It is a masterpiece of low-frequency, high-detail social engineering. The hedgehogs are constantly negotiating space, time, and safety through a language of scent that is older than our civilization. And the most beautiful part of this realization is that it requires absolutely nothing from us. We don't need to manage it. We just need to stop breaking it. We need to respect the silent conversation that happens when the porch light is off and the world is asleep. Now, I want you to perform a small experiment. The next time you are in your garden, look at the corners, the fence lines, the dense brush. Try to imagine it not as a static landscape, but as a living record of everyone who has passed through. It changes how you walk, doesn't it? You start to feel like you are walking through a library of lives that you are only just beginning to learn how to read. If the idea of your garden being a secret social network fascinates you, then you are starting to see the world as these animals do. We are planning to go even further into this in our next videos, exploring the specific frequency of their calls, the anatomy of their scent glands, and even more ways our daily lives impact their long-term survival. If you want to stay on this journey with us, make sure you are subscribed. I am curious, after hearing this, how do you see your garden now? Do you feel like you should change how you maintain it? Do you think your garden is a quiet library or a loud one, given the activity you have seen? Leave a comment below. I want to hear about the messages you think have been left in your own yard. Your participation is what makes this research community work. And as always, if this shed a new light on the silent narratives in the shadows, please hit that like button. It is a simple gesture, but it tells the algorithm that there are others who care about the truth behind the curtain. Until we meet again at the next observation point, stay curious. The night is never empty. It is filled with voices, stories, and histories. You just have to be willing to listen in a language you didn't know existed. The hedgehogs are out there right now, writing their story on your land. Are you reading it? Or are you just walking over it? The choice and the responsibility is yours. Keep watching, keep observing, and keep listening. The truth is waiting in the dark. Goodbye.